Before the Magnavox Odyssey, the only thing like video games that existed were pinball machines and certain computer games, like Space Wars, which required massive and technologically advanced computers to even function. But in 1966, Ralph Baer came up with an idea that would become the first video game console of all time, the Magnavox Odyssey. The Magnavox Odyssey was the first game console ever created, and if you haven't heard of it, I don't blame you. The Odyssey only sold around 330,000 units, which may sound like a lot, but think of it like this. The population in the US in 1972, when the console was released, was around 210 million people, meaning less than 1% of the population owned an Odyssey. I mean, hell, YouTubers like Dodger, Jesse Cox, and VodiVidya have more YouTube subscribers than the number of Odyssey units sold. And comparatively, the later released Atari 2600 sold 30 million units. That's around 100 times the amount of sales of the Odyssey. But, despite its somewhat lackluster sales, the Odyssey was the first video game console of all time and absolutely revolutionary. I mean, think about it. Before the Odyssey, the idea of hooking up a game machine to a TV wasn't even a thing. Only the most expensive computers could even run something akin to a video game, and those computers were the size of a room. It was on a fateful day in 1966. Ralph Baer was on a business trip for his company, Sanders Associates. While waiting for a colleague at a bus stop, he began to wonder about the idea of using a television set to play games, and with this inkling of an idea, began to take notes. I have a distinct image in my mind of sitting on the cement step outside the bus terminal, enjoying a nice warm sunny summer day, occasionally looking out at the passing traffic, waiting for my associate to show up and scribbling notes on a small pad. It was eureka time. But of course, I didn't know that then. The concept of playing games on an ordinary TV set had bubbled up once again from my subconscious, and I got that exciting feeling of being onto something, a feeling that is so familiar to me. He began to spend his spare time working on this concept, and by 1967 was presenting it to the board of directors at Sanders Associates. The reception was mixed, but mostly positive, and the directors encouraged him to turn the concept into something they could sell. From here, Ralph Baer took Bill Harrison and Bill Rush under his wing to further work on their product. Together, they came up with multiple designs and iterations of their box. Bill Rush conceptualized the first ever light gun in 1967, and the team devised a multitude of game designs, including table tennis, the game Atari would later be accused of adapting into Pong. In the late 1960s, Ralph Baer was ready to shop his concept around to various companies. This iteration was known as the brown box due to its fake wood polish. While several expressed interest, such as General Electric, it was in 1971 Magnavox would be the one to sign a contract.
Odyssey, a new dimension for your television. Now at your Magnavox dealer. He's listed in the yellow pages.
My initial idea of a US manufactured $25 game at retail was probably a pipe dream. It was clear that we needed to do something different, something more exciting that would warrant a probable $50 retail price for a TV game. We had thrown out anything that wasn't absolutely necessary to play chase and gun games. That included color, timers, and some of the other doodads like the random number generator and the pumping circuitry. Despite Ralph Baer and team's efforts to reduce the cost of the Magnavox by stripping various components, the finalized Magnavox Odyssey ended up selling for $100, a price point Ralph Baer blamed on Magnavox. Magnavox did a really lousy engineering job. They over-engineered the machine, then they upped the price phenomenally so that the damn thing sold for $100. Here's the thing I wanted to sell for $19.95, coming out at $100.
Now, how much does that cost?
It will retail for just under $100.
And where can you get it?
Exclusively at the Magnavox outlets.
It's really marvelous.
The Odyssey shipped with a multitude of simple games, as well as TV overlays that would help give the game some sort of color. And while by today's standards, these games seem pretty bland, bear in mind the Odyssey was a home console released prior to the November 1972 release of Pong. So if you think the graphics of the much more advanced Atari 2600 are bad, Well, the Odyssey shipped with simple moving blocks. The majority of the games included on the finalized product worked essentially the same, but just played differently based on the overlay you had on top. Several of these games could be easily broken, as you're really not actually restricted to staying within the bounds of the TV overlay. On top of this, the games all required 2 players and was lacking in AI. There was also nothing on the screen keeping a score, so it really was bare bones. In a way, the Odyssey was a little like the Nintendo Wii in its motion controls. It was a revolutionary concept, but still needed some of the quirks worked out. Many of these were due to cost restrictions based around trying to create an affordable system, as things like color and a timer were possible, just simply too expensive. However, Ralph Baer and his Magnavox Odyssey proved to be the spark to start the fire, and soon, many competitors would take their own stab at a TV-based gaming console.